Good evening, everyone. Today is Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020, and it is now 7 p.m. Thank you, Robert, so much for posting the agenda. As you all can see the agenda today, now I would like to call to order of today's meeting. And today's meeting is conducted via virtual meeting only, and the meeting will be live streamed. Uh, you can view this meeting on live on Facebook, on YouTube, or via the website of the City of Milpitas, www.milpitas.ca.gov/web streaming. So we have all kind of link that you can have access to today's meeting. There also a statement for the public who interested in this meeting. I would like to save that for the public forum, if that is okay. Robert, would that be okay?
Yes, that's okay.
All right. So let's do the pledge of allegiance. And for tonight, I would like to invite the vice chair, Ashi, to say a pledge of allegiance. Are you there?
Yes, thank you,
And
Chairman.
give me 1 second.
Yes.
Post the flag. Just
The
one.
flag, yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the
And to the
republic
republic for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
God,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty
with
and justice
liberty
for all.
and justice for all. Thank you so much. Now I would like to do a roll call. I will go down to the list, and please identify yourself because we all at Zoom meeting, so I may not be able to see all of you. So I know that the vice chair, Mr. Asit, Commissioner Asit Katabuka,
Yes, I'm here.
Commissioner Oscar Leon,
Here.
great. Commissioner Thelma Badillo,
Here,
Commissioner George Chang,
Here.
Commissioner Kavita Shredder,
Here.
Commissioner Vissal Gandhi, Commissioner Jose Rosario, Commissioner Gilroy Casanova. All right, so Robert, did you receive any excuses, any notice from Commissioner Gandhi, Rosario, or Commissioner Casanova?
I did not receive communications from them. I will reach
Okay.
out to them. Thank you.
All right, so do we have enough quorum today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should, right? 6. So we have a quorum for today tonight meeting, and as far as sitting of alternate, no, we don't need to, right?
You may choose to seat an alternate if one of the active members is not present.
Well, Commissioner Kavita is here.
yes,
Yes. So then we would seat her, right?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So Kavita, you will be a voting member tonight. So thank you. Let's move to item number 5, which is the approval of agenda. I would like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda. If you have anything you would like to add to agenda, please let us know. Otherwise, we should need a motion to approve it as it is.
I motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you very much. So the agenda is approved. Let's move to number 6, the approval of meeting minutes from August 5th, 2020. I would like to have a motion to approve the minute in August. Any
I move
motion?
the motion. I move to approve the meeting of minutes, August 5th, 2020.
Thank you, Commissioner Chang. Any second?
I can second it. This is Ashish.
Actually, thank you so very much. So move. Let move to number 7, public forum.
Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I think because we're doing this via virtual meeting,
Yes.
it would be better to do a roll call if you could, to make sure we got every commissioner
I
on
just
the
finished the
motion,
roll
if you
call.
could. Yeah. No, I'm talking about on the motion.
Oh, on the motion. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
if you're gonna go through each person. Yeah, that would.
They have to vote as well. Okay. All right. So
Yeah, sorry, I know I was muted and I should have spoken up during the approval of agenda.
all right. So
Yeah, you can just.
so right now, let's vote for the approval of the agenda. If you present today, would you please? Well, usually we raise our hand. So how do we vote now?
You
We
can
can
go
just
through
say
each
yes.
commissioner. Call
Okay.
each person.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call each one. Commissioner Ashi.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Oscar.
Yes.
Commissioner Thelma.
Yes.
Commissioner George.
Yes.
Commissioner Kavita.
Yes.
All right, and I can vote too. So it's a yes. Well, thank you so much. So we would do the same thing for the minute. I will then again read every single name from our list. Commissioner Ashi.
Yes.
This is to approve the minute. Thank you so much. Commissioner Oscar.
Yes.
Commissioner Thelma.
Yes.
Commissioner George.
Yes.
Commissioner Kavita.
Yes.
And I myself. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's move to the public forum, and I'm just going to read the statement. Interested public members may provide comment to the commission on any subject not on the agenda by submitting written comments to the city website www.ci.milpitas.ca.gov/public comments. Comment entry will only be available during the meeting. Commenter may state their name and address for the record and so limits their remark to 3 minutes or less, which is approximately about 300 words or less, or the amount of the time designated by the chair. Meeting comment may also be submitted to Mr. Robert Muslim, and his email is rmusalam@ci.milpitas.ca.gov. City staff will monitor the comments and read out the comments during the meeting at the approval of the chair. This meeting will be conducted with professionalism. Profanity or vulgar language will not be read. At an agenda item, no response is required of the commission or city staff. However, the commission may request staff to agendize the item for a future meeting. So, were there any public comment that you received, Robert?
There are no public comments at this time.
No public comment. All right. No comment. Right. So let's move to number 8 on our agenda. Announcement. Do you have any announcement, Robert?
There are no announcements at this time.
No announcement. So usually we will have some announcement, but if we don't have any, then shall we just move to number 9, item number 9 on the agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move to the city liaison report. I would like to thank the Vice Mayor Bob Nunez for being here tonight, and we would love to hear his comment on the item 9A, which is his part. So, Vice Mayor, this is your time.
Thank you very much. So I hear my echo, so that must be, so I apologize for that because I don't know how to stop that.
No, we can hear you very well. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
So one, it does seem like a long time since we've gotten together. And
Yes.
I am glad to see all of you. One of the things that I mentioned to Sharon last time we talked is trying to make sure that we bring things to you, not only those things we have normally and traditionally brought here, but things really for discussion and to gather your input. At last night's city council meeting, we talked about ways that we could gather community and citizens' input on issues that are bearing down on the city. COVID-19, the impact of that with regard to housing, job loss, the changes in the city, changes in the county. It just seems that it's been here longer than most expect, and it's going to be here longer into the future. And so what we'd like to do is find ways to always be reaching out to citizens. For me, if I go back to the definition of why these committees, these commissions were put together, it really says at the very, I think in the first paragraph, that you were looked upon as providing advice to advisory to the council. And so at least that's what I'm going to try to go back towards, those commissions that I'm the liaison to, bringing out questions that the council itself is struggling with and or just seeking advice on. They're within your purview, asking those questions and looking for discussions. So expect that from us, or at least from me, as one way of trying to help this city reach out to the community for input on issues of the day and or programs we're looking into in the future. So I want to thank you all for really taking time out of your day to come here to this meeting. Even though we're not all together, this is the next best thing. And that's all I have. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I hear you. Your thoughtfulness at well at the member or the member of the city council. We understand that there is a struggle for all of us because we don't meet together as we used to, and reaching out to the community at large has always been difficult in pre-COVID time, and not only during this time. This time, I think, is even more difficult because there are some section of our city, of our community, maybe the elder or the low income who do not have access to even computer, and who do not have the knowledge or the know-how to use Zoom or other technical stuff. So at some point, I think it would be really good to offer some sort of training for the citizen, for resident, on how to access Zoom, how to connect up via the internet or via the cell phone with the city, so that they can have better information, useful information from the city. As you're also aware, even newspaper, everything is shrinking. Our post is less and less pages, compared to before, and so everything is online. If you don't have access to it, then I really don't know what other way. But thank you so much. I think your comment is very important.
Well, and thank you, because just that idea is really good. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So, do we have any other comment on what the vice mayor just said from other commissioner?
I just want to also add, those with disabilities also have limited access to
Uh-huh.
what we're talking about, especially those who are in assisted living or supported living facilities
Uh-huh.
in our city. So I just wanted to add that maybe mobilization of some kind of a volunteer task force who will reach out to these individuals and offer some trainings
Mhm.
with the necessary protections in place, so that they also feel empowered to be able to, or to be able to access information that is so crucial for them at this point in time.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, that's very, very good.
Commissioner Ivan,
Yes.
I would just like to add something else. I'm currently subbing as a principal for, this is my last week. I've been doing that for 3 weeks. And one of the things I found is that the city of San Jose has helped the school district to get hotspots for the families who don't have internet. And the hotspots are actually in really good shape because the internet speed is better than sometimes what families can afford. So I don't know if there is something similar here in Milpitas, even though the area might look more affluent, but there are still families that their internet, if they have one or not, I don't know if the school district is working with that or not, but it was through a joint effort between the the city and the different school districts.
Wonderful.
Okay,
So,
good, thank you.
yeah. I'm so glad you honored Oscar. That's wonderful. So, so do we have such program, Mayor, in our school district?
So we do in our school district. I'm not sure we have the same thing for our seniors and those others that with limited access. So I'm going to take all three of those suggestions back
Yeah.
and see what we can do with those. So I want to thank you. And those are that's the kind of thing I'd like to do under my section going forward.
Great. Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. So, any more comment? If not, I would like to move to item B. I mean, section B of item number 9, which is from the city staff. At this point, I would like to invite Robert to share with the commission. Robert, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Ganlan.
Thank you.
Last week, Milpitas PD began reaching out to the National Night Out block captains to gauge interest in hosting a national night out via Zoom.
Uh-huh.
As of yesterday, the sentiment expressed by PD was that it was not going to happen, but we wanted to allow the CAC the opportunity to briefly discuss and provide feedback to Officer Intisak, who reached out to the commission.
Mhm.
So I just have to quickly remind you, this is not a formal agenda item, so we can't make a motion or take any kind of vote. But we want to prompt discussion so that we can provide PD the feedback that they're looking for. So with that, Madam Chair, I will turn it back to you for discussion.
Great, Robert. Thank you so much. I'm glad you mentioned about National Night Out. As you know, and all of us are aware, usually if we look at our activity, you know, our work plan out for the year, in September, we're probably going to discuss about the Neighborhood Beautification Award. I know that under the pandemic, that is not possible. And I also know that probably sometime in August, we really should talk about make a different day. And again, it's not possible because of COVID-19. So thank you again, Robert, for bringing that up, because I know that Officer Intisak also contact me. So I think this will be a good time to hear from all other commissioner about their opinion, their thought on the National Night Out this year, whether or not we're going to support a Zoom event or not. So let's open to other comment from different commissioner. So I invite anyone to speak up to share about your thought on the National Night Out this year. No comment?
Yes, let me. I didn't want to jump right away. They also called me and I said, if something like that is going to occur, I don't have a problem to participate. But thinking in depth about what it means, couple of things that came to my mind. One is, in order for this to happen, it's not a matter of opening, like when you host like a party in the way there was before. This one is more, implies more things, because when you participate in a Zoom meeting, there are some protocols and security aspects that need to take place. So if, let's say, one of you is opening your Zoom, you open yourself to those kind of things. And just to open it and see who is going to join is probably not a good idea. Has to be with families or neighbors who will reserve or will, RSVP. But in order for that to happen, I think the logistics is more complicated. It's not as simple as I thought initially. And I have second thoughts about if convenient or not to host now one with these conditions.
I hear you very well, and I know it will be really difficult because the whole idea of having National Night Out is really to strengthen the relationship between community and law enforcement officer to fight crime, to help fight crime in our neighborhood. So, given the current political and racial equity and support at the same time support our law enforcement. I know it's a very, very sensitive and very difficult subject. So if I know we're not going to vote on this because it's not a formal issue on our agenda. So yeah, we just hear each other to understand more about this, about your thinking. So thank you so much, Oscar. I know it's very difficult in reality about organizing it.
I just wanted to add. I just wanted to add one more thing, and then I will stop. Is in the school district, for example, if they don't identify the person who was invited, or is a student from the classroom, or is somebody from a management meeting, and they only have initial or something like that, they are blocked. They are not allowed to get in. So just that's just one thing that I know is happening in some places.
Any other comments?
Hi, so this
Yes?
is Thelma. There was a question in the chat from Commissioner Cavita, what the National Night Out is about. In a brief statement, the National Night Out happens actually nationwide in the U.S., and it's usually first Tuesday in August. For Milpitas, we have been doing it on the first Thursday in August, but I believe last year, did we do it on Tuesday?
Yeah, we go back on Tuesday.
The first time. Yeah, the first time we did it on Tuesday. So what it is that we normally have 30 to maybe 35, 40 locations in our neighborhood that we have a block party. So to meet your neighbors. And the police would go with the city council members, visit at least 5 locations. And the commissioners also would visit some amount like that. I only can go 3 because I always stay behind and eat. No. Anyway, Cavita. So that's the short version of it. So since the pandemic, we couldn't meet each other. And my comment about that, I actually thought maybe we could still do one or so with the police and do it in one of the parks, and we can do social distancing. But it depends on the city if they would like to do that. If they would like to host one in the police department parking lot, but only a certain number, because I remember when we were dropping off food for them or the mask and things like that, it cannot be linger about. It cannot be like long. It's like drive by, say hello. Maybe it's a good one.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Thelma, for sharing that. I'm sorry I was ignorant of how exactly it works. But when they say hosting it on Zoom, did they mean that we open it up to the community to join on a Zoom call and where people
Right.
get to interact? Is that what they had in mind?
Maybe I wanted to hear actually what the results were for there's 30 people that usually are hosting the party, now neighborhood night out party. When I did one in my neighborhood, we did it in the park. And we had the police talk about security, that we should try to check out our area and kind of look out which cars are parked in our street and make sure that we know who they are, who's the owner, and if there's something really kind of crazy happening, that we were given the local police department number, not 911, and we had to call the police, and just so the police will know, and the community, the citizens will know what to do when they are in, they have a question and they need the police. So that's the basic reason for the neighborhood night out, so that you know who your neighbors are.
Right.
And yeah, so that's about that. Say hello, because when we work, we leave in the morning and we come back in the evening. We never saw each other
Okay.
aside from that night. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how it will go when you do a Zoom. And like Commissioner Oscar mentioned, it's kind of hard to do it. But if you're neighbors, you can see a park nearby you, and you can still see each other.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comment?
So, Commissioner Van, Chairman.
Yes, Ashi?
So one of the things that in our community that is going on is we have a neighborhood WhatsApp group.
Uh-huh.
This is not something official, but one of the tenets of having a neighborhood night out is to build that sense of community and just be on the neighborhood watch out and exchange ideas and build that community feel. So we have a WhatsApp group here, and we are pretty active on that group. And one of the things that was going on is at the time of National Night Out, or at that during the time, we just get together on WhatsApp and exchange a few more ideas, whatever those are. So there's no video conferencing, but it's basically just exchanging about. I have installed cameras, for example. So if there is anything that activity that is going on, then I have the ability to sort of send some of the feeds to my neighbors or look at their feeds, and we are doing that actively on our WhatsApp group. So maybe that's a part of encouraging your community neighbors to get on WhatsApp.
That's very nice.
Yeah. Commissioner Ashish also has a park nearby his house. So, the other thing that I learned from this neighborhood night out, the police had told us, if it's after dark, when it's dark and there's people in the park, do not approach them. You have to call the local number, police number, and have them come out. You cannot just tell them, hey, you cannot be in the park, because they might get so mad at you, and then something happens to you. Just those kind of things that I learned. If you feel uncomfortable, somebody's there in the park and it's very dark and you don't know what's going on, you just call the local number and they will go and check out your area. Mhm. I love the neighborhood night out. I'm sorry that we don't have it this time.
Um, yeah, personally, I never miss it every year. I
Mhm.
managed to go at least three. Um, in some year, I venture out in different neighborhood that far away from where I live.
Yeah.
So it's just an amazing network of neighborhood. But for the interest of health and safety, I think we just need to be extremely careful.
Right.
In the time, we can't even meet the whole family member at one time because it could be, especially when we have a large family. I'm very concerned about that issue because I know at human being, we have a tendency to always want to be close to our loved one or friend and relative. So sometimes it's hard. I mean, even we care for them, but we may give them the unwelcome disease that we ourselves do not know whether we have it or not. We have COVID or not. So it difficult, right? I mean, I think to really care for people that you care for, that you love, uh, you want them to be healthy, want them to be safe. So I don't know because at Oscar was saying it really for community, for family, for kid, for everybody, together. Especially when we do potluck, we share with our neighbor and things like that. So I honestly, personally, I don't know. Even though I hear Thelma have a good idea, Ashit have very good idea. Um, and I want to thank Kavita for her questions so that we have an opportunity to share with her and talk more about the meaning of National Night Out. Uh, but then again, I mean, just our opinion. We're not gonna vote or anything. So um, I hope some of these idea would be useful for Robert when Robert get back to Officer Intersect, right? So I don't know if we have any more comment. Now is about 7:38 p.m. And I know that we have a very interesting, very very good item on the next agenda, the business item, which is the street sweeping presentation from Public Work. So I again I welcome more idea on National Night Out, but if we don't have any more idea, I would like to move to our next item. So um, any more comment?
Yes, maybe we can have these police officers record a presentation, and then that will be safe, and then will be available for citizens to watch, just like we watch the city council's meeting. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then, well, and this is informative and introduce this national night out, the purpose, and then how we can utilize that in the near future, in next year, in other words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very positive comment. Thank you. Anyone else? No. Um. So Robert, it's still your time.
So one quick note, and we can move on. So as has been intimated, unfortunately due to COVID-19, we have not been able to continue working through your CAC work plan as originally intended.
Mm-hmm.
Our general plan, as the Vice Mayor did speak to, is to keep you more up to date with the programs that the Building Safety and Housing Department has been working closely with, such as rent relief, which we'll provide an update to you in October, and be in November. So our hope is that we continue, your great work the following year when it's safe to resume the activities. But for now, we'll keep it on an update basis, month to month.
Great, excellent. Yeah, we would love to hear about rent relief an update on that, because I think it's just so important for so many people in our community now. So thank you so much, and we're looking forward to hear more on the subject in October. Um, shall we move to the next item on our agenda? Robert, can I
Yes, ma'am.
under the public business item, can I ask you to do the introduction for our
Yeah.
next presenter? Thank you so much.
So we have the Public Works team. We have Myvan, Alan with Public Works, and then Public Works Director Tony Nda and Deputy Public Works Director Elaine Marshall as well, if you have any questions. But they will be doing a presentation on street sweeping. So with that, I will turn it over to their team.
Great, thank you.
So I will stop sharing my screen now, and I'll let you take over, Myvan.
Hello, everyone. I hope you have a good evening. It's nice to meet you all, even though it's all on my screen right now. I am with the Public Works team in solid waste, and my coworker Alan, which you'll probably be seeing him in a little bit too. He's a worker in solid waste as well. And as Robert mentioned, Elaine and Tony are here as well from Public Works. And we really wanted to give you an update on the street sweeping pilot program. I just thank you for the opportunity. And then I also just wanted to thank the Vice Mayor as well, since he's already heard this presentation. So this will be his second time going through it.
And it's exceptional.
Oh, thank you. Now we have to meet that bar. Next slide, please.
Oh, Amiga, and then before we start, just for ease, is if everyone can who is not speaking, can you put yourself on mute to eliminate any feedback? It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Alan, by the way. So he and I will be switching back and forth on this presentation. So the first question is, why are we here? The street sweeping pilot program was approved in the fiscal year 1920 budget as part of the capital improvement plan. And there's a budget of $400,000 set aside for this project. It's a council requested project and it's a priority. So once Alan and I came on board, this was one of the projects that we're currently working on. And it addresses a few different things related to street sweeping, or some call it street cleaning. And so things that we were considering included resident concerns about beautification, reduction of litter impacts into waterways. And since the pilot project focuses on residential areas and specifically, so we really wanted to look at different neighborhoods, mixes of single family, multifamily. We really wanted to take into consideration the trash reduction plan that we have, as well as the hauler input from Milpitas Sanitation. They're the ones who do the street sweeping for us. Next slide, please.
All right, wonderful. So with the pilot program, we are really trying to address two primary issues. The first is allowing curb access to the street sweeper in order to properly clean streets, which will in turn actually help with the second issue, litter accumulation. By properly sweeping the streets in the neighborhoods, it will reduce the amount of litter entering the watershed, which addresses the street sweeping section of the city's trash load reduction plan, as well as addressing the visual appeal of impacted neighborhoods. Better visual appeal would also help deter people from littering, because studies have shown that once an area reaches certain thresholds for blight and degradation, and they are much more likely to be subjected to activities such as littering and illegal dumping. And that's just a positive feedback loop that can go sideways really quickly. Conversely, areas that are clean and well-maintained are much more likely to stay that way, which is the positive feedback loop that we're trying to build. Next slide, please. So there are a variety of factors that we are accounting for in the selection of the pilot at the neighborhood areas. The two largest factors that are being weighted are areas that have been, one, identified in the city's trash load reduction plan that are highly impacted by street litter and parked vehicles, and 2, areas identified by Milpitas Sanitation, that is MSI, that pose an issue for curb access by the street sweeper. Other factors that we're considering include the number of single-family units versus multifamily units in a neighborhood, the geographic location in the city, and also various street types. Next slide, please. And Mivan will talk a little about the research that we did.
So this matrix is just a snapshot of some of the cities that we looked at. We actually wound up contacting by email or calling a lot of more than these cities that are listed here, but we tried to look at all the ones around the Bay. And this matrix only narrows it down to the 3 that we really focused on, Union City, Hayward, and San Jose. The things that we were looking at were street sweeping parking prohibitions. So what we're talking about here is signage, no parking signage for street sweeping. All 3 cities do have signs for residential areas. Union City has a very robust program. About a quarter of their streets have signage on them. And then Hayward's program is pretty robust as well. Where we looked at the entity that's performing the street sweeping. So whether it's done in-house or whether it's done by a third party or the hauler. We looked at the frequency of the street sweeping, as well as the strategy for parking during street sweeping. In Union City and Hayward, they did what are called split streets. So what they did was, if they have no parking signage for a specific street, then they do street sweeping on one side of the street on one day to allow for the cars to move to the other side, and then vice versa. So that way it allows, more parking for the cars. We also looked at the enforcement entity and the process that they used for enforcement. We looked at the municipal code and the authority that they had for enforcement, as well as the citation amount. Next slide, please.
Note to self, unmute before speaking. And the good news from all the research that we conducted is that we have a lot of the infrastructure already in place in order to support and implement the pilot program. Regarding the municipal code, the City of Milpitas does not need to adopt any new codes. From the research information that Mivan presented and that we conducted, we're able to identify various muni codes that are already in place to help with the enforcement and implementation. And then the 2 up on the slide are the ones that are most relevant, and then to what we're trying to do, but is by no means an exhaustive list, as there are much more muni codes that could be utilized, but these are the ones that we wanted to emphasize and show that, hey, we have things in place. Next slide, please. And in addition to that, within the fiscal year 2021 adopted master fee schedule, there is already an item under the police department that could be utilized within the program's enforcement procedure. We already had the chance to confirm with PD the accuracy of the activity description and whether or not it could be utilized for the pilot program. Next slide, please. And of course, all neighborhoods with public streets already have a set schedule for the street sweeper to conduct the cleaning. This slide shows just one of the schedules that's provided through MSI's website. Right? And through some initial conversation that we had with MSI, we already discussed several options that could be employed so that the pilot locations can be addressed with very little to no disruption to the established existing schedule, which means that as a resident of Milpitas, you don't have to, if you are in a pilot location, you don't have to memorize a completely new street sweeping schedule, which is great. Next slide, please. And Mivan, back to you.
So where are we at now? The action items that we're at now are coordinating with MSI Milpitas Sanitation, Inc. We've been having discussions with them about the logistics, how this would work on the ground, what the scheduling would look like for the street sweeper. Like Alan said, we want as minimal interruptions to the current schedule as available because we want to keep it, consistent. Outreach, we're working with them on the different materials they have, photos of the street sweeper, things like that we can employ in our outreach. And then also metrics and evaluation, just checking in with them on what we're thinking that we would capture to evaluate the program and whether or not that's feasible for them to even get us that information. We also are forming an internal street sweeping pilot team that would be composed of Public Works, the Police Department, Finance, Engineering, Building Safety and Housing. So there's a lot of different departments and divisions here at the table to make sure that, you know, everything is going well, that we're meeting everyone's needs and that it's doable. I think that's the most important thing for Alan and I going forward, is that, you know, we can think of things, but can they be done? And then developing and tracking the budget. As I mentioned, there's a $400,000 budget, and just line iteming out and making sure that we're on track for that. Next slide, please. We also discussed outreach. I was interested to hear the discussion from the commissioners about technology. That was one of the things that we were thinking about, because we listed social media here only as a potential, because we do recognize that in this case, traditional outreach would be better. And the reason for that is because, you know, with postcards that are mailed out or door hangers that are physically on people's doors, then that way we're sure, well, more sure that people would be able to get the message. You know, for the outreach, we were looking at multilingual options because we know that Milpitas is a very diverse city. And social media, even though it's out there, we weren't really thinking of it as a primary source for outreach because it hits citywide. And then also, as the commissioners mentioned, there are technology issues, lack of access issues. And so really the traditional outreach was what we were focusing on. Next slide, please.
Of course, we can put on any program that we want, but without proper evaluation, we won't know if the pilot is successful or not. So we will be collecting metrics, both old and new, all throughout the process in order to see whether or not that we are making any progress, and also to gauge whether the pilot program is successful or not. The standard metrics that we are already collecting include the number of curb miles swept, and also the volume or tonnage of material that has been swept up or collected. We're also looking at additional metrics such as the number of citations and or warnings that are issued, the percentage of the street that is blocked by vehicles, as well as having our own team on site for the pilot locations to do visual assessments and audits. To see how many vehicles are actually there, or what is the state of litter on site before and after sweeping. And we will be gathering all the metrics internally within Public Works, and with the assistance of MSI as well as other city departments, we are in discussion regarding how we can collect the other data pieces necessary to do the evaluation. Next slide, please.
So in a nutshell, the street sweeping program, we're looking at permanent signage, meaning no parking signage for street sweeping. We're looking at enforcement. We're also looking at citations and penalties. We're very sensitive to what's been going on right now. You know, we realize that people are sheltering in place, that there are more cars being parked right now than normal because people are at home rather than at work. So we were looking at, or we were thinking about doing warnings first and education to make sure that the community knows through outreach, knows that this is coming. And then, you know, that first month that we go through, we're looking at doing kind of just warnings for people, you know, that they would receive this rather than a citation, because we want people, I mean, the goal of it is to get the cars to move rather than citing people. So we wanted to give people that opportunity and that flexibility to be warned first. Next slide, please. And the timeline. So we were thinking that this project would be a 12-month project. And the idea for that is that it would encompass all 4 seasons of the year. The first 3 months would really, which we're in now, would be doing research, forming the internal project team, coordinating with Milpitas Sanitation, all things that we're doing, and then implementation for signage, for the outreach, for notifications, and then presenting to commissions. We did our first commission presentation to the Energy and Environmental Sustainability Commission recently. Now we're here with you to let you know what's going on and to gather your input and feedback on it. At the 6-month mark, we're looking at evaluation of the metrics that we've captured, doing presentations to let people know, how it's going so far. We envision having regular project team meetings, as we're going forward to make sure that we're still on the same page and that the project is still going as planned. Regular meetings with MSI, as well as ongoing field surveys to make sure that, that the project, to see if the project is working and effective. And then at the 12-month mark, we would do a final evaluation with metrics and the budget, and then we would do post-pilot presentations. Next slide, please. And this is just our email. If you have any questions or have input, we'd love to hear it. I'm Mivan Kusiman. My coworker is Alan Ha. This is our email. You can feel free to reach out to us at any time with any questions. And we're also here right now if you have anything. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I learned something new today, that's for sure. I received the schedule, the card that you send home, but personally, I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. But now that I know about the program, so that's really wonderful. Thank you so very much. And as usual, we would love to have a copy of your presentation just for our record. So thank you so much again for the presentation. At this time, I don't know if we we have few minutes on the comment and question from other commissioner. So this
my question is the schedule of the sweep. Is it in the website, city website? Because I missed the card. I don't know where it is. But I think mine is Thursday. I mean Sunday. Sorry. It's Friday once a month, I believe. I don't think it's every Friday, but anyway, I'll pay attention.
Yes, so the schedule is twice a month for residential areas.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yes, currently, if you go onto the Milpitas Sanitation website, there's a section for street sweeping, and you can type in the name of your street. And when that pops up, it tells you what the schedule is, what section you're in, and then you look up the section, and it tells you the actual schedule, like what Alan showed on his PowerPoint.
Right. Okay. Very nice.
Yeah, and that leads me to also think that for this project in particular, we were looking into doing a specific website for this project. And we were hoping as part of that website to have a schedule specific to the street sweeping pilot areas so that people in those areas could also see it on the city website as well. I don't know, Alan, if you had anything to add to that.
No, the only thing I wanted to emphasize is, in case it wasn't clear, it will only impact specific neighborhoods that are chosen as part of the pilot. It's not going to be a citywide program to start, because we need to make sure that especially something of this size and caliber and what we're trying to do, we need to take the proper steps. So we're starting small scale.
I have a comment. Actually, I have two comments. One is with regard to the postcard and the door hanger that you talked about. I think it would be, just my personal opinion, I think it would be redundant. Using social media and Nextdoor might be beneficial to also get the message out. And of course, targeting one of them might be better. As opposed to both, because we're contributing to paper waste and littering if we were doing both. That's one, just to be environmentally conscious. And Nextdoor is pretty robust, at least in the Milpitas communities. So it might help to get on Nextdoor or one of the social media sites using Facebook and Twitter and other I don't know if you have Slack channels that you do this through. Those are different options, just a thought. Second comment that I had was with regard to the warning and the citation that you mentioned. I just want to make a comment that these are really hard times for a lot of people. So instituting a fine or a citation may not be viewed very kindly, and it's not really in the best interest of the citizens. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents, because there's a lot of people who are going through difficult times right now. And with even the federal funding in terms of the unemployment drying up, it may not be viewed as something that's savory at this point. Just my 2 cents, sorry.
Any other comment?
Back. I just wanted to make a comment. So for the outreach, yes, we were considering social media as well as traditional. I do thank you for your concerns about the environment. You know, that's a valid concern, especially. But we were looking at traditional outreach because social media is a wider spread and it's more citywide. And since it's such a limited project, we didn't want to have confusion there from people thinking they would be in the program or vice versa. We really wanted to limit it. So it wouldn't be a huge population. Hopefully that wouldn't be too much papering. They said it's very targeted.
Right. So that's why I suggested Nextdoor, because it is more, neighborhood oriented. And traditional is great, but I was just suggesting one or the other rather than both. That's just a thought.
Thank you.
And if I may, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to add to your point about being hard times. And I know Meevan spoke to this during her presentation as well. When we put this plan together, COVID was not in mind, and everyone working from home was not in mind. So that definitely presents its own set of challenges for us, as like Meevan said, because we definitely have a lot more cars parked at home nowadays than we had before. So it is something that rolling out a pilot in these uncertain times in this manner will be challenging, but I know we have the right team to be able to work that out and analyze the information. And again, to Meevan's point, emphasis really is on compliance, not on the punishment. So we really want to focus more on getting folks to understand the benefits of the program, and doing more warnings and education versus slapping the hands with a stick. So I just wanted to help folks understand that point, and we'll make sure that's part of the pilot program and that's hammered home even more.
Thank you. Any other comment? Well, again, thank you so much, panelists, member of the public work, for reaching out to our commission. And we really enjoy your presentation. And we hope that with this information, we can also let our neighbor and our family and friend know more about the program, even though it's a pilot and even though it's going to be in certain neighborhood, but not citywide at this point. So once again, thank you so much. Now is 8:04, and we reached to the point that we at the end of the meeting today. If there is any more discussion, then we can spend a little more time. But if not, yes.
I just have a question about the fire that is near Milpitas. About do we have any information about that? As far as I heard that the evacuation is in the Milpitas library. I just wanted to see if Robert or anybody has some people actually went evacuated over there. I'm evacuated from Santa Cruz, but I'm in the Milpitas home. So, but I wanted to know if there was even people that got evacuated in the library.
Robert, are you there?
I apologize. I don't have an update on that at this time.
Okay.
So I hope.
Good morning, commissioners. All right, good evening. Gosh, I'm sorry. forget what time it is. I can provide a quick update. My understanding is the library, the Milpitas Library, was not an actual evacuation center. It was an evacuation resource center. So anyone who was being evacuated could have gone to the library and gotten information on what housing alternatives would be available. So there was actually no physical evacuees sheltering at the library.
Okay. Thank you for your clarification. Yeah, I did call on that day where the minute I hear about Milpitas Library, I said, "Oh my God, this is right around the corner." So I called and find out about it. But I'm glad we were part of the Santa Clara County plan of giving out resources to the people who may need it. Well, thank you so much. Any more comment? Well, it's 8:06. If we don't have any more discussion, I would like to have a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Hi, this is Thelma. I move the meeting be adjourned at this time.
Any second?
I can second it.
Thank you so much. So we adjourn tonight meeting. Thank you all so much for your presence tonight. I know it's hard to have night meeting after a long day, staring at the computer, So I'm grateful to all of you. Thank you, Robert, Sharon, and all the technical staff who help us with our meeting. I know there's a lot of behind the scene work. As usual, we're very grateful to all your support to the commission. And I want to once again thank you, Vice Mayor Bob Nunez, for being here today, and as well all commissioner that present today. I saw Commissioner Jose Rosario called in. So yeah, thank you for being here, for making effort to call in, Jose. Thank you so much. It's good to hear from you. So with that, we will close this meeting today. And once again, thanks everyone for being here tonight. So yeah, wear a mask, shelter in place, keep be informed about everything around us, and be safe. Thank you so much, and I look forward to see you in October meeting.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.